are you ready for the first Dane Brugler mock draft of the 2025 draft season here on your home of the Cowboys? You're about to get it. You are about to get it right now. You guys ready for this?
Kidding me?
We got a two-rounder. So it's not just who the Cowboys take at 12. Titans take Cam Ward, Miami quarterback, with the first pick. Do you guys agree with that?
They haven't studied the quarterbacks yet, have they?
Just Shador. That's the only one I've seen.
Just avoiding the quarterbacks.
Yep.
Abdul Carter is gone with the second pick to the Browns. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Sure
he reminds me very much of a current player here in the system we've seen with Jared Verse from Florida State that plays with the Rams. That type of player.
Carter
More speed.
and Garrett. Watch out, quarterbacks.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's a hell of a tandem.
Yeah.
The Giants snag Travis Hunter at 3. That stinks. I don't care what side of the ball he's playing on. That Giants starting to put together some pretty good players. We'll see if they can get a quarterback and get it figured out. Would you be passing on the opportunity to get a QB, though? If you're the Giants there at 3?
I wonder what's going to happen in the second round on these quarterbacks with the top of the list there. At the top of the round. They might wait. Might be a team that wants to jump back in there, too, with the Giants, maybe at the back end. But, I think that I don't know how you pass on Hunter there. I think the quarterbacks are so iffy right now. I can see a bridge player being there.
Patriots at 4 obviously need a wide receiver, and they go with the guy who's electrifying but not fast, McMillan from Arizona.
I love Ted McMillan. 6'5", dude is massive, wide catch radius.
Smooth.
It's very smooth.
Powerful, too.
Really good route runner. I've seen comps to like Drake London. I watched him and I saw a less fast Mike Evans. I mean, the dude, he catches everything.
The Jags take maybe the best corner after Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, Michigan. Shador's gone at 6 to the Raiders. No surprise there. Mason Graham's off the board with the Jets. This is Dane Brugler's mock draft here. The Panthers, Jalen Walker, edge Georgia. The Saints taking the safety, Malachi Starks, Georgia. That's a player that I would like to see at 12. But he's off the board. So is Josh Simmons to the Bears. They got themselves a new tackle there, the Ohio State Buckeye, to help protect Caleb Williams there.
Best tackle in the draft.
It's a good pick.
The Niners taking the Missouri tackle guard, Membu, right ahead of you.
That's a reach on my half right there.
I haven't even studied him yet. This is a fresh name that's starting to be talked about here earlier in the draft than I anticipated.
Which leaves on the board for the Cowboys now a somewhat interesting collection of players. The LSU tackle guard, Will Campbell, that might be your pick. Obviously, Ashton Genty is out there. Shamar Stewart, the defensive lineman from A&M, is still on the board. So is Michael Williams, the edge from Georgia. But he has the Cowboys going with Luther Burden, the third wide receiver out of Missouri, saying the Cowboys have to find more answers in the passing game outside of CeeDee Lamb. Explosive threat, all 3 levels. Does his best work with the ball in his hands, becoming a running back after the catch. Would you like that pick? Do you think it's among the realistic possibilities, Brian, for the Cowboys?
I think it absolutely is a realistic possibility. I think you mentioned Campbell. Banks was not mentioned, I don't think, in some of the picks.
No, Will Campbell's still there.
Yeah.
Kelvin Banks still there.
So you're looking at potentially a tackle or a guard. I think that Banks is a guard myself. That's how I view him. I'd be interested to see what the Cowboys do. We'll try to dig that out. But, yeah, I don't think that you take Burden right there, and I think you'd be really, really happy if any other thing would be one of those offensive linemen. I think I would take Banks over Campbell myself if I didn't have a chance at that wide receiver.
Egbuka still on the board there. Obviously, I know you like him a lot, Wolchuk.
I'd go Egbuka over Burden personally, but I understand the upside with Burden and the playmaking ability after the catch. Both of them are good yak guys. Burden can be special, though. I mean, he's got the speed, the start-stop quickness. He is special as a playmaker once you put the ball in his hands. A bigger version of Kevontae Turpin, in a sense.
And Brugler calls him a running back after the catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and watching him play, I would absolutely love that. I think, though, I would be building more long-term, and I would be leaning offensive lineman unless all my scouts were telling me this guy is so much better. We have a higher grade on him. We can't go for need here. And plus, wide receiver is a big need. If that's the best player on your board, you stand up and take him, and you get excited as a Cowboys fan.
You said, though, that Genty had not been picked, right?
Yeah, no, he went
Genty's
to Denver at 20.
Okay, see, this is where, and I'm just going to say this. And I understand where we are in team building and running backs and all these things. Yeah, it is an absolute deep draft for running backs, no question. I would be interested to see if we got to 12 that if Genty, I would think he would be their best player on their board. That's where I think. And if that's the case, then I wonder how, usually you don't want to jump tags. Usually you don't want to, if you put a guy there, you put him where you would take him. And you don't want to window dress your board either. But I bet you when they get to 12, if he's there, he will probably be the best player on their board. If they take somebody else, my gut feeling is they jump to tag. That would be my guess.
The only indication we got is that they moved on from Pollard, and was it Gelkin who right before he left he said the Cowboys have sort of changed their view at running back, and I don't know if that was for 2024 or if that's going forward. Did they change the positional value and how they look at it?
Johnson from Iowa, Hampton from North Carolina, Henderson from Ohio State, Scatteraboo from Arizona State, Sampson from Tennessee, Harvey from Central Florida, Junkins from Ohio State, Neal from Kansas. It's a long list, and it goes to the fourth round. If they want to pass on a runner at 1, there's quality runners in the second, third round, and Neal I have in the fourth.
DJ Giddens, Kansas State.
Dane did note at 20 when he put Genty with the Broncos, saying, should Genty fall this far? Of course not, but if Dallas decides to pass, there aren't many obvious landing spots for him.
There you go.
In the top 18.
Which is why if this scenario fell, you have 2 tackles that go right ahead of you with Simmons and Membu. Simmons, the offensive tackle from Ohio State, Membu, the offensive tackle / guard from Mizzou. If I'm the Cowboys and I'm looking at how this is falling, I'm hoping a team wants to call up, jump the Dolphins maybe for a tackle. Maybe somebody wants Will Campbell. Maybe somebody wants Kelvin Banks Jr., and I want to slide on back because I got a list of guys that I'd be interested in. I've got them kind of all around that same clump range right now. You're
interested in Green, the edge from Marshall at that time?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're doing.
I would love me some Mike Green, who unfortunately goes to Washington, and that would be a nightmare to deal with for the foreseeable future if he ends up with Dan Quinn in Washington.
Okay, we jump down to the second round then, and Dane Brugler here at 44 for the Cowboys. You have Jahdae Barron on the board there, Wolchuk. I know you're a big fan. So is the Florida State cornerback Thomas. But Dane going with the runner at Ohio State, Travion Henderson, to the Cowboys at 44. Would that be something you guys would love?
Yeah, no, I have no problem with Henderson. That would just, but I think if Johnson from Iowa or Hampton from North Carolina was there, but I don't know if those two have been gone.
Johnson went in the first round.
Okay.
He had 2 running backs in the first. He had Caleb Johnson off the board already.
I would take Hampton. I'd take Hampton over Henderson if it was me right now.
And I think Hampton went right before you to the Raiders at 37.
Okay, then I would. Then now the thing is open for Henderson. But I have a first round grade on Barron, the corner.
Same.
And I would take him over the running back at that point.
The scouting department has been good at finding defensive backs on day 3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much you would look at that, but if I don't get another offensive lineman in the first round, I feel like I really want to get him in the second round or at late the third round, because by the time we're on day 3 with offensive linemen, I mean, you're mostly talking about projects, aren't you? And we haven't looked at the defensive line either. Is Osa gone? Do we have a a pass rusher there?
Yeah, I have a third round linebacker. Yeah, I have a third round 3 technique for you. Norman Lott. It's a hyphenated name from Tennessee that you need to take a look at. That would be pretty good there. Sanders from South Carolina would be in the mix as well as a 3 technique.
Yeah,
and then also Nolan from Ole Miss is another guy that I would look at.
Okay, it is the GBag Nation here on 105.3 The Fan. Salute to the GOAT, Dane Brugler there, the king of the media scouts anyway. And he's been producing this beast publication every year for years and has so many players in it for you, and we always look forward to his content.